good.
Welcome to another edition of the Lead Your Lineage podcast, the number one podcast for individuals that are seeking to end generational dysfunction. What's good, cuz? Talk to me. What's going on with it? What's good? What's good?
Hey, living life, cuz. Right now, man. Look, I'm gonna get this straight off right now. You know what I'm about to talk about. What I'm talking about every 5 minutes, man.
What's up?
That vegan burger you bought me. Man, so you know, man, life changing, cuz. Like I said, you gave me that vegan burger. I've been thinking about being vegan, man. So that's I never thought about being vegan. So it's a lot of life changing stuff going on. You know what I mean? Trying to put more into this podcast. Put more into the original people and the Eve gene. Put more into being a father. Put more into being a husband. Putting more into being myself. Outstanding young black melanated man. So I'm just putting in that work, cuz, constantly, man. So that's what it is, man. Just feel it, going through the roller coaster, man. Just riding it out. Right now, I feel like I'm going up. I'm at the up part where it's kind of getting, where it kind of gets slow, but you're going up. You be hitting a little bump, but you be going up. You be jerking the heck out of you. But yeah, for
absolutely.
Real, cuz. How you feeling, big cuz?
I'm feeling empowered, man. Feeling great. I'm in a great space right now. Really feeling optimistic. Feeling excited, feeling like a genius, feeling like a person of purpose, feeling all the feels that generate joy and happiness and enlightenment. Feeling all of that, just going through the process and feeling those things out, and it's a beautiful thing to experience. It's a beautiful sight to see.
You say you feeling genius. Cause he feeling like a genius. Me too.
Everybody a genius.
Albert Einstein ain't got shit on me. For real. Albert Einstein ain't got shit on me.
That's it.
I could have taught him something for real. Cause he don't know nothing about this melanated culture. I would have taught him a whole book of this, cuz. For real, man. But let's get into it.
Yes,
what this podcast is about, man.
Absolutely.
What's this one? Hit him with it, cuz. Hit him with it, man.
Yeah, so this one, we want to get to a space of who's in control?
Who's in control?
Who's in control? So you break down that word, like who's in control. So, who? Is that you? Who? Is that who you? Or is it some external force or entity or person that is inside of control?
Yeah.
Being able to call the shots for you or because of you. So you have to take ownership of that. Ownership of self. Ownership of your ship.
Say it again, cuz.
You have to take ownership of your ship. And a lot of people, and for me it starts with them using the imagination to create a thought and then making that thought manifest in reality. That's just like how I'm looking at it. And a lot of people aren't in control. They're not in control. And it's telling. You can literally just go to, if it's a great day outside, great weather, you just go to a park, everybody outside, and you can just see. You can just sit there and observe. You can go to Starbucks, sit there and observe. You can go wherever, just be there, sit still and just watch. And listen. Watch with your eyes and your ears.
You know what what I thought about when you said who's in control? Mm-hmm. This is just off of life experience, man. Who's in control? Is that addiction in control? Mm-hmm. Is that job in control? Mm-hmm. Is that
talking good?
Yeah, okay. Is that even your business? Is your business in control? Mm-hmm. Anything can be in control because you have to be in control at all times. A lot of people always be like, man, I need to hurry up And for instance, a lot of entrepreneurs out there, we have that thought, man. We need to hurry up and get big, so I'm gonna put all my time in this and this and that, and I'm gonna put all my effort in one pile of what you put in one pile in one bowl. You putting all your chips, all your chips in one basket. You putting all your chips in one basket, man, and then that basket becomes in control. So we got to be in control of ourselves at all times, and it's hard to do with a lot of things manipulating you and grabbing you and getting your attention, and it's just hard, cuz. So who is in control? And I know a lot of people out here, man, cuz I used to be addicted to drugs, man. That sometimes your addiction can be in control. And a lot of people be thinking just addiction and associating that with drugs. Addiction could be anything, man. A lot of my people, I done had a conversation. He was addicted to porn. Porn was in control of him. You know what I mean? That ain't no drug. Anything, man. When people are alcoholic and they be changing it, that alcohol is in control when they on there looking. Because they normally don't be the same person. A lot of times a drunk actually be a good person, only when they sober though, because I know some, So it's a lot of things that you can be addicted to. You can be addicted to money. Now money is in control of you. So instead of spending that little, instead of going to see your son or your daughter game or one of their events, you was in control. I gotta get this bag. I'm sorry, I'm gonna miss out on this one. I gotta get this bag, and you letting your money be in control of who you are and not spending that valuable time with your lineage.
And that's real. And it's like with all those things that you mentioned, when you're taking your last breaths in this body, right? You're not thinking about any of those things that you mean. Like, man, let me get a drink. Let me get a cigarette real quick. How much money I got right now? You're not thinking about none of that. You're thinking about the things that are most important. And those are the people that you connected with here on earth. You're thinking about, how will I be remembered? How will my life force live on within other people? Who have I impacted? You're looking back on life and like, okay, did I do what I was supposed to do? Or what I needed to do? Did I fulfill my purpose here? And like I said earlier, man, a lot of people aren't in control of their own situation. And like, for example, right, we were talking earlier about like being vegan, right?
Yeah.
The origin of being vegan, I believe, came from the 70s, from like people advocating for animal rights and things of that nature. So they were like, stop eating animals. I got into the whole vegan verse, the vegan sphere of, I want to be healthier because of what my ancestors did in their past. And now I'm like, okay, I'm seeing the health issues they have. Like, I don't want to be moving and grooving like that. So now I'm like, all right, we got to do something different. So that difference is, okay, let me change the way I eat. But now, like I was saying earlier, because like the food is only like maybe at most 20% of the whole picture.
Yeah.
Like if you look at 24 hours in a day, right? How many times you eating? Out of those 24 hours, how much time are you spending eating?
Probably not even 4 hours.
Right.
Probably not even that. So.
And I'm not talking about the preparation of food. Like you actually, the physical act of you putting the food in your mouth, chewing the food, and swallowing the food. That right there probably doesn't take more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like snacks in between, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all of that I'm pretty sure it doesn't add up to 2 hours. Yeah. Out of those 24 hours in a day, right? Like I said, it's not accounting for like prepping the food, buying the food, or whatever, right? But like what you put in your body, maybe 20% of it. So it goes back to, okay, what thoughts are going through your head to make you choose to do what you just did? I'm of the belief we control our actions and our attitude.
Agreed.
And for example, I'm primarily plants and fruit, right? Fruit, veggies, right? Plants. I'm doing that because I know I don't want to have high blood pressure, diabetes, and all these other different health complications
Heart disease.
that that my pops had. I don't want that. So I want to do something different. That was my driving force. But it was all these different steps. So it came from a decision of a traumatic experience that made me change. So I had to deal with the trauma of, okay, this doesn't work for my genetic makeup.
Yeah.
When I went through that at 2017, 2016, 2017, that time period, I didn't look at it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do. I didn't look at it like I do now, back then. But like now, okay, I need to starting to eat like based off how I'm like biologically set up. I need to eat based off of my chemistry, chemistry, right?
Chemistry, okay.
I need to eat based off of that to be able to make sure my body, my vehicle, my vessel, my ship can be able to move and traverse throughout the planet so I can live out my purpose.
You had to find a way of you getting control is what I'm hearing. You have to find a way of getting yourself in control. Yeah, because a lot of our eating habits, like you said, it comes from, I hate to say it, man, slavery. That we still eating pig feet. We still eating chitlins. We still eating pork rinds, pork skin. Like so, we still eating a lot of this stuff that we don't know that is taking care of us as far as in health. Because food take care of you. You know what I mean? So if you eating that, that's what's fighting. That's what your body is using, the proteins and all that, the proteins and minerals it got to fight off the diseases and viruses. So you letting that take control of you. And like you mentioned earlier, man, the food, how food give you mood, affects your mood. So you got to take control. You had to look back and you had to say, what's in my cells? If I keep eating this and eating that, if I don't control my way of eating, you put your self-control instead of letting America and TV and things in the history that happened to your people to continue to destroy your cells.
Absolutely.
So you had to take control, cuz that's the first step.
Absolutely, and that extends to a lot of other different areas too, right?
Yeah.
If you look at a neighborhood as like a body, right?
Yeah.
So you have a neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
You have an apartment complex in the neighborhood. You have different shops and different businesses. You have houses. You got parks. You have all these different things that make up the community, churches, all that, right? You look at that as a body, those are all these different things. So it really starts, so what makes that neighborhood or that community are the individuals that are in it. So that goes to like, what's going on in this individual household? What's going on in this school? What's going on in this church? What's going on in this grocery store that makes up this community, makes it a good or a bad community? And that like ties into like the control of self. So that same principle, you can apply that to yourself. Like, okay, if my body's a neighborhood, I have a house right here, got an apartment complex right here, a school right here, a church right here. What are all those things? What are those things I'm doing to be able to make sure that's functioning properly on a holistic level? So spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Like, what are those things? What does that look like? Mind, body, and spirit, right? What does that look like so I can make sure I'm functioning properly? People don't have control of that aspect because it's so driven by other outside forces. They don't go with the inside to be able to do those things. And that's like an issue that a lot of people have experienced. So I'm talking from experience. I've been there. And I was just like, yo, this is not right. Like spiritually, it just didn't align anymore. It didn't resonate with my spirit.
Yeah, so you had to change the way.
I had to change it up.
And
I had to take the people be saying, God take the wheel. Well, we gods. Yeah, Jesus take the wheel. That's what people say.
Yeah, we gods.
I got to take the wheel.
Yeah.
I got to take the wheel. Through the spirit, my body, like my spirit's in this body, and I can make a conscious decision. I can control my action and my attitude. I'm gonna take the wheel and guide to where I need to go.
And you know how you, I'm gonna talk about how you said eating was only 20% of being all the way 360 spiritual. And this is where I tell people, this is why you have to be careful of the people who you hang out with. Mm-hmm. You have to hang out with the right people. Me and Cuz been kicking it for a minute now before we even did this podcast.
Absolutely,
and a lot of things. And we both was always working on our spiritual, right? Yeah. But we wasn't working 360 on our spiritual. You would probably be working more with your health. I'm a fat guy, so you know I've been working more on the history. You know me, because this happened in 1990.
I thought you said fat guy from like you ain't fat. What you talking about?
Facts. Yeah, I ain't never been fat. No, fat, baby. No, I ain't never been fat, man. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Tell them about me, ladies. Go ahead and comment down. I'm messing with you. But no, look, anyway, but like I was saying, cause you gotta be careful who you hang out with, because actually hanging out with the right people, that's what they say, hanging out with the right people can put you in better places. Yeah. Like for instance, cause like I said, you was working on health, I'm more of a fat guy. Every time we come around each other, you tell me something about health that can help me spiritually. I help you out with a little fact that can help you spiritually. And little do we know is we was exchanging information and putting that thought in our brain. That thought like, maybe I should start working on my health. That's what I was thinking. You know, maybe I can start reading a little bit more facts about our history. So it helps out. Yeah. And so if we hanging out with people who, instead of hating all the time, if we hang out with people who we see have the strengths that we want, we actually can learn that from them, man. Because I never thought I'd be vegan, man, until you bought me that burger, man. I never in my world, never. You know, every time you come over, cuz we talk about healthy this, healthy that, and you see me, I'm eating healthier. So it wasn't like you said earlier, I had to start taking that wheel. It wasn't like I just started to be like, it's not like I ate a vegan burger and was like, dang, cuz I'm about to be vegan. No, I took that ladder. It started all the way back in like 2016, 2017 when I
took the stairway to heaven.
Yeah, step by step.
Step by step.
1% of progression is better than none. So I stopped eating pork. Then next thing you know, I start eating ground beef. I stopped eating so much dairy. I don't eat nothing dairy. So it was like one by one. Yeah. And then I had that burger, and that clicked in my head. I said, I still can find a way to release that dopamine, because that vegan burger tastes just like a burger. So I still was releasing that euphoria, that dopamine in my brain that if we can identify, if we take control and actually know why we like to eat unhealthy, we'll actually figure out it's because a lot of that dopamine get released during these foods. So it helped me actually learn, it clicked something in my head like, dang, I haven't had ground beef in probably like a year or so. This tastes just like a burger. That means when I stop eating chicken, I can find something that tastes just like chicken. So, it takes a step. It don't some people can go cold turkey, but I'm talking about the people who like me, who got to climb up that ladder. I can't just jump up high and go, boom, I'm done. I'm vegan this, or I'm that.
Yeah, I got bounce. That's how I went. And I don't recommend anybody doing that. Yeah. I definitely recommend the approach that Cuz is doing, you go step by step.
Step by step.
Take something away, add something, take something away, add something.
And what that come with, Cuz? That came with from hanging out with you, cuz hearing that inspiration, hearing how it changed your body. So that's what we gotta do. We gotta start surrounding ourselves with people who hold themselves accountable and all of that, who also, like I said, who's in control. So you gotta hang out with people who take control of themselves, so you can learn something from them, and it can be a 360, because a lot of times you get lost in the sauce in one subject, like being healthy or the facts. So you gotta, and that helped me, like you said, because that helped me realize that facts is just not. We get lost in our sauce. Facts is just not the only way of being on this better spiritual realm I'm trying to get on. Practicing the facts and all this. I have to eat it. I have to breathe it. I have to live it. I have to know it. I have to consume it. All of that.
That's facts. So it's like, being in control of, and that's what I like. People that are looking to transition. That's why I recommend get back in control of like something that you can do today.
Yeah.
Like you can go drink a gallon of water today, a half gallon of water today.
Yeah.
You can control your water intake today. Like listen to this right now. You can go drink a gallon of water, a half gallon of water. Like that's on you. You can control that right there. Then that creates a feeling of okay. I mean, it gives me a great feeling. I'm releasing some dopamine now.
Yeah.
I've accomplished something. That's it, and especially if you're coming from a place where your affection for self is coming from achievement, like where I'm at right now, I'm growing out of, right? Like you can say, oh, I got something, so you get a dopamine hit. And then, okay, now I'm feeling confident, getting some confidence, I can do this. Then you just constantly just take back control, take back your power.
You know?
Like step by step.
Step by step.
You don't have to
all at once. Scrap.
Yeah. I would love for that to happen, but everybody's not like that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Now as you go back and take like your power back, give yourself grace too.
Yeah.
Because don't be in a space like, dang, I gotta get vegan like tomorrow.
You know.
Like just give yourself grace. You're gonna be alright, like yo, okay, like I said, it won't do this or this works, or get my family on it, we good. And then just be. Just be and do. Be and do.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Be,
do, and review.
For real. And a lot of times we be hard on ourselves like that, and we like they'll look at you and be like, oh well, he went cold turkey, man, so I need to go cold turkey. Mm-hmm. But like we was
and
talking,
that comes back to knowledge itself.
Like I was talking about earlier today, it's impossible for anybody in this world to be in somebody else's shoes. It's impossible. You cannot compare yourself with no one, because in order to be somebody or to fully understand them, you would have to have their DNA. You will have to be in the environment that they were raised in. You'll have to be in the environment that they're currently in. You will have to have the same parents as them. You would have to eat the same food as them at the same time. You would have to shit and piss at the same time they did in life. You would have to literally go through whatever emotion they felt at that time, at that moment. So if it was at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday, at 6 a.m. on Tuesday, you would have to go through the same thing. So it's you can relate to somebody, but you never ever can actually be in somebody's shoes, cuz. Mm. So that's a lot of things we be trying to reflect ourselves and see other people who we might be motivated by, and we try to be just like that person. You can't be a replica of nobody. You gotta be the best version of you. Taking control of you, not letting somebody who motivates you taking control over you. You see somebody who motivates you, and every time they do something, you trying to do it. You letting your motivator control you. You got to control yourself. You know what I mean? You can't just be looking at Tom and nah, you know, we don't like using those type of names on here. That's Jerry, definitely a black guy name. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you looking at Jerry. And he went vegan, and he only eats this. So you gonna do the same thing as Jerry. You gonna go vegan the same thing, only eat this. And you figure out that your chemicals don't work like that. Y'all have you and Jerry have two different ancestors.
Right, yeah.
You figure out that he can eat this because his body breaks down the minerals and the right vitamins of this certain diet. Your body needs a different diet to break down and get those minerals and vitamins. Mm-hmm. So
that's that deeper part. Exactly, that's that deeper part of knowledge of self that we don't talk about. Like who am literally how am I? Who am I? Why am I? Yeah. Like we don't when am I? Like we don't really get into the who, what, when, where, how, why, and all that. You know, when you breaking down something on a basic level, for example, for a business, what business I am. How am I going to do this business? Why am I in this business? We don't do that for ourselves.
Agreed.
But if we did how am I? Who am I? Why am I? Where am I? If we did that for ourselves, we'd be in who am I? We'd be in such a greater place, individually. And then if we're good individually, then we can go outwardly into our family and help them out if they're ready to. If they're ones that are seeking, and then from there we can go to the neighborhood, and we can go to community, then we go to the city, then like it just compounds over time. And all the change starts within, and us taking back our power and our time and our control of what we can do. Like it's a quote from I think John D. Rockefeller that says, "Own nothing and control everything."
Mm.
And that's literally how like, when you really like take a step back and look, that's really how the world is ran. People aren't owned per se, but they're controlled because of fear or because of like disease or how they were raised in this type of environment. Like they got it, like people don't take control of their own actions and their attitude to be able to make the change that they want to see. And like, you and I are both in the midst of this too. So we're not talking from like a high pedestal. Like, yo, we're not like, we're just on this journey and we're being vulnerable and sharing our journey, to help other people too.
Okay.
To like awaken that subconscious consciously. So that's what we on.
Yeah, cause you said how we subconsciously, consciously, like I didn't know that a religion controlled me. I'm gonna keep it 100, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that a religion controlled me. It made me think the way that I think. It made me do the things I want to do because I didn't have control of me. When I was changing my life and I gave my life to God, I didn't control me. I gave everything to God. I gave myself, my mental, spirit, everything to God. So anytime I had a problem, I'd be like, well, I'm going to let God handle it. I'm going to put it in God's hands. I'm going to let Jesus take the wheel. And you know what I realized? I realized that I was in the back seat of that car, and I was asleep. I was in the back seat sleep of that car because I thought Jesus and God had it all. I didn't have to worry about nothing, so I got comfortable and went to sleep. The next thing you know, when I finally, something hit me up, and I just, get a little wake up, and I realized we ain't going nowhere. A car can't drive itself, man. Probably these new cars, but a car can't drive itself, cuz. You got to take that wheel. You got to be the one in control. You have to be, even if you do believe in Christian, you still have to take control. Even if, I could put this in Christians' words, if you want to look at it in the Bible phrase, what they say, God doesn't give you anything you're not prepared for. So why, he's not going to prepare you. So obviously it's telling you right then and there, he's not going to prepare you for it. You got to prepare yourself for it. So it can go either way, whether you do or you don't. So we got to get ourselves prepared, or we got to get in our own car and drive to our destination. And a lot of people don't understand this. Nobody knows your destination but you.
Right. Yeah.
You don't know your destination. If I'm driving your wheel, right, cuz say, we growing all the time, we letting each other take control of each other, and you letting me drive the car, and I'm trying to get to your destination. Whether or not, believe it or not, I'm gonna go whatever way I feel is best. I got the car. You'll probably tell me, hey man, my life need to go this way, cause you can see the highway. I'm blinded. I can't see nothing. I really only can see what's in front of me, cause I don't see your vision. And your vision, you can see out the car. You remember the other day I couldn't find, cuz taller than me, I don't care. You remember the other day I couldn't find my ketchup?
Yeah.
And you found it?
Yeah.
Because you was at a higher vision. You saw something that I couldn't see. So it's something like that. With your life, you can see at a higher vision than somebody else. It'd be like the instance with that. Like I said, when we was back in the car, you in the car, you looking, and you been passenger seat. You can look all around in the passenger seat. You say, hey man, come on man, we need to go this way. And I'm like, nah man, you go this way, and you just take my advice, do this. And next thing you know, we mix your exit for your best success. You gotta be like, nah man, get out this car, man. Let me pull over, let me drive, let me show you where I need to go. Plain blank and simple, man. And even with that catch-up thing, like it'd be, you got a higher vision of yourself. Because when I first came out with the original and the Eve gene, the original people in the Eve gene, when I first was telling people, everybody was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Then I started putting work in. I had a higher vision. I'm like, cool, this is dope. This is one of the dopest brands. Who got melanin skin and don't want to be in the original people in the Eve gene clothing? And everybody laughed. Then I started really opening up, and I had dope feedback. Everybody, hey man, let me get some of this. You know, I go to pop-up shops, I be selling out.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't let somebody else. I didn't see cuz needed to catch up. I didn't need to catch up. You needed it, right? I was looking at it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you was, nah, cuz it's up here. You couldn't see it. Cause you needed it, cause that was your higher, that was you being at a higher vision, seeing yourself at a higher level than anybody else can, cuz I couldn't see that catch up.
He couldn't reach it either.
I couldn't reach it either. Hey, but look with that though, look, even when I can't reach something, I go find a stepping stool and step on it all, step on them counters. Hey look, can't nothing stop a giant, but himself.
I want to touch on this something that you said too about the cars, right?
What's up, big cuz?
Even with the cars that like the Teslas and things of that nature that can actually like drive themselves, right?
Yeah.
There's an invisible force called the software that has to be downloaded into the car to be able to move the car.
Break it down.
So just like in terms of like the human body, right? Like software is spirit. The spirit has to come to you from somewhere so you can operate your vehicle with the car, and the car in this situation is my body.
I see what you mean, cuz.
So regardless of you grabbing the wheel, you're getting that guidance and that direction from a source, and they're giving you the like our ancestors are giving us the control of this car. Because of our ancestors, we have the car.
Yeah.
And because of the divine design, we have the car, right? But that spirit is being downloaded to us from or the software is being downloaded to our car so we can navigate without it. So we can't take the wheel if we need to, or we can let them take the wheel. It just depends on the situation. It depends on the situation and the divine timing.
I know what you mean, cuz.
So I agree with you to a certain extent, but we can't ignore the fact that even like in me, I'm very like detail oriented. So I was sharing, I was speaking to a couple of young men earlier at the school, right? I was telling them like, I had this elaborate 10-year plan like in 2020. Then this whole COVID situation happened. None of that nonsense worked. I had to pivot. I had a whole plan. I'm like mapped out. I'm gonna do this year for 2 years. Next 3 years from 2022 to 2025, I'm gonna do this. And 2025 to 2030, I'm gonna do this, right? Then COVID hit. I'm like, oh, well, I can't do that right now, so I'm gonna have to pivot and figure something else out. So it's like even with all of the planning and all of the control that we can take, we also cannot ignore or negate the fact that it also like there's higher forces that we can't even see or touch that are also helping us guide us through this journey here on Earth as well.
I agree with you, cuz, but you still have to take control.
Absolutely.
Because you can inspiration. A lot of people don't know.
And it's another thing too on control too. Like you have to tap into them to tell you for that guidance, so you can't take control.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna touch on what you said, how like it works with us if we feel like, you know, our ancestors inspired us. A lot of people don't know what inspired really comes from. It comes from because our people. You know, here go another fact.
Yeah.
Our people, hey, another fact. Hey, our people, man. You know, we believed in when it was in spirit, inspired. So that means one of your ancestors inspired you because you got their cells. So one of their cells inspired you within, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how many times have you heard yourself tell yourself or thought of an idea and you didn't go fully in with it? You didn't take control of your thoughts. So I feel like you still gotta take the wheel, man. I mean, your ancestors ain't the one out here driving your car. They can inspire you, but they can't. And just because you're inspired by something don't mean you actually take the plan and take the actions to step up forward with it. How many times people came up with plans and never took actions upon it and been like, oh, somebody be like, man, I could have been. I thought about Apple 37 years ago. Oh, here, I just didn't go ahead with it. Or I thought about the cloning on 30, 40 years ago. I just didn't come up with it.
And that creates regret, envy, and all types of different
You gotta
emotions
take control of your inspirations. You gotta be like, I'm about to put a Ford up in it. I'm about to grab this wheel and I'm gonna put my foot all the way down on the gas and I'm gonna keep going no matter what. If I see a brick wall, this car, this body is, we gonna go through it. You gotta believe you're gonna go through. Can't nothing stop you, man. And that's hard. You gotta, in order to take control, cause who is in control? Sometimes you can lose control even having too much self-thought, too much self-control, because you feel like you're trying to, like you said, you're trying to grab too much over the wheel. And you know, the wheel, you know when it get icy, what they tell you, when the roads get icy, right, they tell you let go of the wheel. Let go of the wheel. But you still got to be in the driver's seat. A lot of people's getting out of that driver's seat. You got to let go of the wheel, let the situation play out first, and then stir that car back the right way. So you do got to stir it back the right way, but if the situation is messed up at the time, for some stuff we can't control. Like say if we working for this company, next thing you know, the company without no warning says everybody we're closing, we down. Now you still in control of your life. Don't feel like you not. Just let the situation play out. You going your light bill. You ain't got enough money. You didn't save enough money to pay your next light bill because you living paycheck to paycheck. You ain't got it. You don't know how you gonna pay your next rent, your rent due and all of that. Your job done fired you, and this was supposed to be the paycheck of you paying everything. And so right now it's icy. The road is icy, and your car's spinning and spinning and spinning. Man, so you're gonna have to let that. You're gonna have to let all that play out until you can gain control of it. You grab that wheel and you stir yourself the right way.
And that's so dope. And like to close this out too, like I lost my pops back I physically lost my pops in 2016, right?
It's easy.
It was one of the coaches from Indiana State, one of the football coaches from Indiana State. Shout out to Coach Cabral. He reached out to me when I got back on campus and was like it's something that never goes away. Like you're always gonna it's just gonna hit you. Like we're just gonna have a situation where you might be doing something and then it's like it inspires a memory of your father. And you're just gonna have to feel it. And sit there and just feel that situation. And that could be a way of him communicating with you, right? He also one of the things he always preached to the defense was control the controllables. He always preached that, control the controllables. And a lot of people in life, we don't control the controllables. And our lack of control of the controllables is what's leading us down a path that's unrighteous. Whatever unrighteous is to you, is leading you down a path that isn't fruitful. It isn't joyful. It isn't inspiring. It isn't what you want to do. So control the controllables, y'all. We have more power than we realize. We truly do. You take a step back and look okay, I can figure out what I want to eat today. I can figure out what I want to drink today. How much I want to rest. The activity I want to do today. We have a lot more power than we realize. We just have to step into it with grace and step into it with the mindset of this is for me. And I believe in myself and lead it with love. So that's what I want to leave the people with. You got anything as we close out, cuz you want to leave the people with?
Nah, cuz, man. Just make sure you know who is in control. So if you're not in control, figure out who is in control. Is it an addiction? Is it that is it the food? Is it the actions? Is it your job? Is it your career? Is it your business? Is it your kids? Is it your husband? Is it your wife? So make sure you figure out who's in control. And that's what I gotta say. Find out who is in control. And if it's not you, figure out how to implement some strategies to make sure it is you.
Absolutely, that was good, cuz that was good, man. That's so dope. Yeah, so in closing, we appreciate y'all for jumping on with us today for the Lead Your Lineage podcast. And we are the #1 podcast for individuals that are seeking to end generational dysfunction. And with that, family, we out.
Peace.
Peace.
Hey, we gotta tell them. Make sure
What's
you
up?
like.
Oh, yeah.
Like, subscribe,
Absolutely.
and share, and comment. Hey, look, and if you got any products that you would like for us to either wear or I like tea. You know, I ain't got no tea this time, but I like tea. So if you got that,
I
let
like
us
tea
know.
too.
Yeah, because love tea. You know what I
Most
mean?
definitely.
And vegan burgers. I'll give you a whole vegan burger. If you get a vegan burger, boy.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
That's it.
Peace.
All right, y'all. We out.